Now, Joe Biden finds himself under mounting pressure to quit the 2024 presidential race from Democratic leaders as well as party donors.
Calls for the president to step aside have been surfacing since his performance in the first debate against Donald Trump. Now, the latest to join the list of people who, of course, want Biden to step aside is Peter Welch. He is the first Democratic senator to publicly call on Biden to ditch his re-election bid, but he is not alone. Biden has also failed to quell the fear of two heavyweights who hold significant influence over other lawmakers and donors, Nancy Pelosi and George Clooney. Here's a report.
Democratic U.S. President Joe Biden faced fresh doubts on Wednesday about his re-election chances, including from two high-profile members of the party, Nancy Pelosi and major donor George Clooney. The former House Speaker, who is a longtime Biden ally, told MSNBC he must decide quickly whether to stay in the 2024 race, while declining to say definitively that she wanted him to run. Hollywood star Clooney, who co-hosted a fundraiser for Biden last month, withdrew his support with a damning opinion piece in the New York Times, saying that Biden was not the same man he was in 2020. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries told lawmakers Wednesday that he would relay their concerns about Biden's electability to the president, according to media reports. For nearly 2 weeks, the 81-year-old has sought to stem defections by congressional representatives in his party, donors, and other allies, worried he might lose the November 5th election to his 78-year-old Republican rival Donald Trump after a halting debate performance. The president has said again and again that he will be the Democratic candidate and that he believes he can beat Trump. He has said repeatedly that he had a bad night at the June 27th debate and vowed to stay in the race. So far, public defections remain a small segment of the 213 Democratic-aligned House members, and the party's leadership continues to back Biden publicly. No members of the Senate have publicly said Biden should stand aside, though Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado said on Tuesday he did not believe Biden could beat Trump.
All right, for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani sent us this report with the latest from New York. Listen to this.
The concern about President Biden's mental acuity and fitness to run has not subsided. Even a celebrity and once Biden fundraiser George Clooney is now joining the chorus of naysayers. And when senior Democrats like Nancy Pelosi hint that President Biden should reconsider his decision to continue his campaign, it may mean that the calls for Biden to step aside are stronger than previously anticipated. As a former House Speaker and a Biden ally, Nancy Pelosi's suggestion that time is running short for President Biden to make a decision is a clear indication that Democrats are indeed running out of patience. Her subsequent walkback of her comments, in which she claimed that she was misquoted and that President Biden was great, only adds to the sense of confusion and uncertainty surrounding his campaign. And the fact that Democrats are still divided on what to do next is a major problem for President Biden. While some, like Nancy Pelosi, are trying to give him space to pivot, others, like Representative Pat Ryan, are calling for the president to drop out altogether. And they're being very blunt about it. For lawmakers like Ryan, whose seat is in jeopardy, this may be a way to save face in front of his constituents who think that Biden is just too old to run.
Susan further explains what to expect going forward now that Clooney's comments are out in the open. Listen to this.
In terms of what comes next, it's clear that the Biden campaign needs to do something dramatic to change this narrative. His scheduled interview with NBC News will be closely watched, as will his solo press conference scheduled for Thursday. But it does appear that Biden's strategy to save his candidacy is to just run the clock. The New York Times, for example, writes that every day that he defies pressure to step down makes the logistics of replacing him more difficult. And in the coming days, all attention is going to turn to the Republican National Convention and Donald Trump as well, and possibly reduce scrutiny of Biden's viability.